Hello, tonight I'm gonna finish reviewing the Karate Kid film series with the Karate Kid Part 2. Just like Part 1, it comes in the collection box set I own. Now, when I first heard about the Karate Kid Part 2, I was like, how can there be a sequel to Part 1? Because Daniel has won the tournament, earned everybody's respect, develop self-confidence. What more does he have to do or prove? Well, despite that, I was impressed with the sequel. I liked it, and just like part 1, I can watch it countless times. For this sequel, I like how it took the Karate Kid series to a whole new direction. It focused on Daniel going to Okinawa with Mr. Miyagi and learning the early part of his life. I also like how it introduced new characters. Part 2 was directed by John Avildsen, who did an excellent job with the first two films. I also like Ralph Macchio and Pam Morita coming back as Daniel LaRusso and Mr. Miyagi. Now, in the Karate Kid Part 2, Daniel goes to see Mr. Miyagi after his prom. He tells him that Ali has broken up with him for a UCLA football player, and his mother got a job in Fresno, but he doesn't want to leave Mr. Miyagi behind. So, as a way to calm Daniel down, Mr. Miyagi has Daniel finish building a guest room he started. When Daniel asks why is he building a guest room, Mr. Miyagi tells him, I spoke with your mother, you can stay here, you don't have to go to Fresno. Daniel gets excited and happy about it. Later on, Mr. Miyagi receives a letter saying that his father is sick and he's dying, so he decides to go to Okinawa to visit him. On the night before Mr. Miyagi leaves, he tells Daniel that in the early part of his life, he met a young lady named Yukie. They were deeply in love with each other, but by her parents, she was arranged to marry somebody else, and that person turned out to be Mr. Miyagi's best friend Sato. Later on, Sato became furious with Mr. Miyagi and challenged him to a fight as a way to save his honor, but rather than fighting, Mr. Miyagi left Okinawa for good, which resulted in him leaving Yukie behind. The next morning, when Mr. Miyagi is about to board the plane to Okinawa, Daniel suddenly appears and tells him that he wants to accompany him to Okinawa. At first, Mr. Miyagi doesn't think it's a good idea, but Daniel convinces him, so Mr. Miyagi lets Daniel come. When they first arrive in Okinawa, they are greeted by three men who say that Yukie asked them if they can pick them up from the airport, but instead they trick them and take them directly to see Sato. One of those three men turned out to be Chosen, Sato's nephew and best karate student. In the evening, Daniel and Mr. Miyagi arrive at Yukie's house by taxi. They are greeted by Kumiko, Yukie, and Mr. Miyagi's father. Yukie says that she never married because she was still in love with Mr. Miyagi. Sadly though, Mr. Miyagi's father passes away. You have this funeral where they lit candles on these small boats and they pushed him away along the sea, which is a nice scene. And then you have this moment where Mr. Miyagi is sitting along the beach. Daniel comes and sits beside him and tells him that his father too had passed away. So it was nice that in this sequel we got to find out what happened to Daniel's father, because in the first one we didn't, but in this sequel now we know. Later on, Daniel and Mr. Miyagi are enjoying the rest of their time in Okinawa. You see moments where Mr. Miyagi and Yukie make up for a lot of lost time, and they even fall in love with each other again. You see Daniel and Kumiko develop a love interest and relationship with each other, but at the same time you have the feud between Mr. Miyagi and Sato going on. Even Daniel himself falls into a feud with Chozen, and both feuds go back and forth throughout the movie. One day, Sato is destroying property on a village, and finally Mr. Miyagi gives in and tells Sato that he will fight him, but on the condition that the village will be left alone forever. So Sato agrees to that. But Sato gets a big wake-up call. On the night they're supposed to fight, there is a big storm which is destroying most of the village. And then when Daniel and Mr. Miyagi are helping everybody to safety, they see Sato stuck on this high post which is laying on top of him. When they help Sato free, Sato quickly changes from a bad person to a good person. He tells Chozen to help Daniel save the rest of the people, but instead he runs off into the storm and disappears. The next morning, Sato brings in big trucks and tells Mr. Miyagi that he has come to help repair the village or rebuild it, and he reconciles with Mr. Miyagi and they become best friends again. Daniel convinces Sato that this festival that they usually have, it be put back into the castle where they used to have it. Sato agrees to that. Finally, you have the festival where everybody's dancing, they're enjoying themselves. Kumiko is about to do a performance in the festival, but out of nowhere, Chozen appears and challenges Daniel into a fight to the death. And the fight is very well choreographed, it's very well done, and the fight looks very realistic. You know, it keeps going, it never stops, and Chozen is a much stronger opponent than Johnny Lawrence from the Cobra Kai. Like when he tries to kick Daniel, he misses, and he breaks a piece of a statue, and he tries to stop on Daniel. He chokes Daniel, strangles Daniel, and you see that Chozen really wants to fight Daniel. Then Mr. Miyagi takes out a drumstick where he does this, and when he does so, the drumstick makes a beat. Suddenly everybody else starts doing it, and it gives Daniel the courage to continue the fight. Daniel defeats Chozen, and when the end credits roll, you have the song by Peter Cetera, Gloria Love, and that's how the movie is. You know, this is an impressive sequel. You know, I was surprised by the sequel. And, you know, everybody did a great job in the sequel. I like the new characters. I like, you know, Yukie, Kumiko, Sato, and Chozen. And the score I really liked. And honestly, I like the score in this one a little bit better than the first one. But I still enjoy both scores. So that's my review on the Karate Kid Part 2. I hope you like it. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next reviews later.